Would you like to turn a patch of your lawn into a beautiful mini wildlife meadow? Perhaps you'd like to attract more pollinators, or you just want to do a bit less mowing. It is easy. It's a perfectly easy thing to do, but it's not quite as simple as just letting your grass grow. So I've talked to a number of people who've done it in their gardens, and I've looked up some expert advice, and I've also got lots of pictures of mini meadows in gardens to inspire you. It's Alexandra here from the Middlesized Garden YouTube channel, bringing you tips, ideas and inspiration for your garden. There are two kinds of wildflower meadow, and before you set out it is important to understand the difference between the two. There is the very brightly coloured, really beautiful reds and blues with cornflowers and poppies, and that's usually an annual meadow. It does well on rich soil and in a sunny position, and you sow the seeds at the beginning of the year. And here is a beautiful annual meadow sown by Lucy Chamberlain of the Cottage Garden School. But that's not the sort of meadow we're going to be talking about in this video. We're going to be talking about people who let their lawns grow longer and they keep them there permanently. They don't dig things up, and that's likely to be a perennial meadow. Now, a perennial meadow has a different sorts of flowers. It needs quite not very rich soil. It needs sunshine. My friends Amanda and Julian have a square garden, and it's probably about 80 feet square, and it's an old wall garden right in the middle of town, and they have borders around the edges, but they really weren't sure what to do with the lawn in the middle. And then they thought, well, we'll make it into a wildlife lawn. So what they first did was really just let the grass grow a little bit longer. However, they soon discovered that they did still have to weed. When things like thistles come, you do need to weed them. And then they also realised that lawn grass is very strong and it kind of crowds out wildflower. They sowed yellow rattle in their lawn, and that weakens the grass, the lawn grass, and allows wildflowers to establish themselves. I have several friends who have just simply allowed part of their lawns to grow long, and then they have looked after the meadow, and they say it does save you time. Having a perennial meadow saves you time on mowing, but you can't just let it grow because you have to take out the weeds and you have to weaken the lawn. And if you don't get lots of wildflowers, and it is amazing how quickly you do, then often it's a good idea to put in plug plants so that you're giving some chance of wildflowers in there. Amanda's and Julian's lawn has flowers for about 4 months of the year. That's around May, June, July and August, and then in August they cut it down with a scythe. I actually went to watch them cutting it down with the scythe, and it isn't as difficult as I thought. The scythe is Swedish and it's surprisingly light, and I had a go with it, and actually I could do it. Obviously it's a good idea to learn. Amanda and Julian went on a weekend course, but actually Julian showed me how to hold the scythe and I literally managed to do some scything. My friends Hugh and Fiona let a patch of wildflower meadow grow where there had been a great big old tree which came down in a storm, and they put plug plants into this just in the first year. They haven't since then, and during the summer you get a complete change of colour. You'll have the white flowers one minute and then you'll have the purple ones the next. And then at the end of the summer they use an orchard mower to cut down the grass. Amanda and Julian did actually buy some seeds from Emma's Gate Seeds, and they added those to their lawn, and they found that in different years you get a kind of different balance of wildflowers. In the early days there was a lot of wild carrot. Now there's really hardly any wild carrot, but there's loads of oxeye daisies. Amanda and Julian were given about 6 oxeye daisies from Julian's sister, who had already got a meadow in her garden, and those 6 oxeye daisies have multiplied to what you see in front of you now. You can buy plug plants, you can ask friends for plants, or you can grow plants from seeds and then plant them either as small seedlings or just scatter the seeds into the meadow. It is important though to bear in mind this difference between the perennial meadow and the annual meadow because they are different kinds of plants. An annual meadow requires rich soil, a perennial meadow requires quite poor soil. So if you try and put cornflowers and poppies into an annual meadow, they will go beautifully, but cornflowers and poppies in a perennial meadow really may not do so well. So it is very worthwhile checking when you're buying seeds or plug plants as to whether they're suitable for an annual meadow or perennial meadow. There are links in the description below to useful addresses if you want to make a mini meadow. If you've enjoyed this, do hit like because it helps me know that you'd like to see more wildlife friendly or environmentally friendly videos in future. And if you haven't subscribed to the Middlesized Garden YouTube channel, do please subscribe. We upload on Saturdays with tips, ideas and inspiration for your garden from real gardens. So hope to see you again. Thank you for watching.